You might be asking yourself, what the hell does Captain Marvel and The Dark Knight have in common? What in the hell do these two movies, separated by nearly 11 years across two different major powerhouse studios and a multitude, an outright litany of films in between them, have in common? Well, ultimately, nothing. Nothing outside of the fact that they're two comic book movies. But other than that, they share little to no similarity. They're not the same in powers or abilities. Batman is, well, Batman. Billionaire Bruce Wayne. Captain Marvel is pilot Carol Danvers, who's basically Superman without the invulnerability of having human emotion, I guess. I don't know. But other than that, the two have nothing in common. So the question then becomes, why am I pairing them together? Why am I bringing them together for you on the screen right here? What could they possibly have to do with each other? And the answer is, the media is very much trying to spin that Captain Marvel passes The Dark Knight at the worldwide box office. Yeah, this is coming from Screen Crush the other day. Not just Screen Crush, we've got comicbook.com did the same thing. Here, Heroic Hollywood published the article yesterday, but it's just making its way around. This website here, Pink Villa, saying Captain Brie Larson star Captain Marvel beats this Christopher Nolan film at the worldwide box office. Read details. And not only that, but even CBR.com, which is essentially the same as comicbook.com, are all running the same article here. Captain Marvel tops The Dark Knight's total global box office haul, which is completely unfair to do. Now, I have talked about this before in regards to Captain Marvel and the way the media keeps pitting her against DC. There was an article that came out right during the lead into her release, like right after the ticket sales came out, where they said, oh, Captain Marvel beats out Wonder Woman and Aquaman pre-sales. And I'm like, what the f does that have to do with the price of tea in China? Nothing, not a damn thing. If you were to sit there and say Captain Marvel beats out Ant-Man, right? Or Thor, or Captain America, or Iron Man, or Black Panther, or Guardians of the Galaxy, The Incredible Hulk, the list goes on and on and on and on and on, Doctor Strange, whatever, tons of these movies, 21 of these films. And a lot of them are origin stories. If you were to pit her against her own, sound kind of weird, her own people, her own kind, then that would be a very valid argument to make. That would be a very valid argument to make. But here we're not seeing that. In fact, this is just what the article says. It says here, despite competing with some major releases, Captain Marvel grossed more than $1 billion worldwide. Marvel Studios' newest superhero film has dethroned Christopher Nolan's The Dark Knight, which released in 2008 at the global box office and become the 10th highest grossing superhero film ever. See, that's the only real connection. Is that, it just usurped it as being in the list of top 10. This is what I talk about when I say Hollywood loves, like not even so much Hollywood. No, it is Hollywood. They love coming up with these types of awards, these types of accolades that make no goddamn sense. And you're going to hear something like Captain Marvel is the highest grossing movie on Tuesday in March in an off year. Is it the year of the dog? According to the Chinese calendar, Captain Marvel beat the previous score 20 years ago when it was this movie. Like, they think of the stupidest things to write about because they quite literally, and this is true, quite literally have nothing else to say. Nothing else to say. Captain Marvel has done more than The Dark Knight. Whoop-de-do. Whoop-de-do. Who cares? Put it up against Iron Man. Put it up against Thor, Captain America. Put it up against Guardians. Put it up against any of the other movies inside of that little thing. Stop pushing it against DC. Especially because Shazam just came out, but we can't ever say anything good about DC movies anymore, can we? Because look, here's the thing. I'm not trying to put out tinfoil theories. I really hate tinfoil theories, but it is hard to not look at the way the media treats Marvel movies and how it disproportionately treats DC films by the same measure. Right? It's like every time Marvel, Kevin Feige shit a golden nugget, everyone loses their damn mind. Aquaman crosses $1 billion. You know what? Good for Warner's. You did it, Warner's. You did it. You did it, guys. You made stop with that nonsense. It's so frustrating because this is not content. Oh, it crossed Christopher Nolan, it beat the Nolan movie. Oh, now it's the number 10 highest grossing superhero movie ever. And guess what? It will be knocked out next year by something. You know, not even that. It will be knocked out in a month. It will be knocked out in a month. Endgame will come out. It's going to cross $1 billion in like, I don't know, 3 days. Because they're estimating a $900 million opening weekend. So 3 days. The movie's going to come out. Maybe a week. Give it a week. Give it a solid week. Maybe 10 days. They'll go like the first 10 days. Avengers Endgame scored $1.14 billion. Oh my God, we've never seen something like this before, ladies and gentlemen. Here today, I mean, just imagine like the nonsense on that particular front, but it's going to knock Captain Marvel out of that score right away. So it's going to, then are we going to see headlines? Endgame knocked Captain Marvel out of the top 10. No, we're not. We're not going to see those articles. We're not going to see those headlines because that would be pitting Marvel against Marvel. And Lord knows when it comes to the House of Mouse, God forbid you ever criticize them in a way that makes some damn sense, right? Nah, you can't do it. You can't do it at all. It's so stupid. It's so ridiculous. Don't even try. This is what I'm talking about here, folks. The pitting of it together makes no sense, especially because it's just a useless metric. It's going to be in 3 weeks. In 3 weeks, Captain Marvel is now the 11th highest grossing superhero film. But then, you know what? What's the next $1 billion movie going to be that they come out with? Is it going to be whatever they drop next year? Whatever Marvel releases next year? You know, is Wonder Woman 2 going to come in and beat Captain Marvel? That's a maybe. That's a big old freaking maybe, right? So are there going to be headlines? Are we going to see headlines, you know, in June of next year, maybe July of next year, when we get to see, you know, Wonder Woman 1984? Are we going to see that if it comes out, if it beats Captain Marvel? Are there going to be the headlines that come out and say it knocked Captain Marvel out of the 11th highest place? No, because they only care on the 1 to 10 scale. They only care on the 1 to 10 scale. It might knock another one. It might knock the 10th one out, but we don't see those headlines. What we see is this, because it's always the media shitting on DC. It's always the media shitting on DC. And the reason why is because they don't want to lose access to Disney. And I'll tell you guys this before I wrap this up too. This happened last year, 100%. The LA Times came out and criticized Disney for how it's handling its expansion in Anaheim by buying up large swaths of property, like 40 acres. And Disney was all like, no movies for you. Totally soup Nazi'd them, right? No movies for you. You don't get access. You will get nothing from us. Like nothing. I don't even know where that voice came from, but they get nothing from them. And as a result of that, or as a result of getting nothing from them, the movie bloggers came out with like, that's not fair, Disney, because they could actually rally around something to criticize them on. That was dumb of them to do, and that's why they did it. But in the meantime, you're not going to see headlines like this because they don't want to mess around with it. I am trying to set up a conversation with some people who work in the industry to talk about this, and hopefully we can get it going, because these kind of headlines right here, this attempt to attack DC, and it is an attack on DC. Make no mistake about that. They want to sit there. They're gleefully going, Captain Marvel beat out the Dark Knight. Kind of like all those articles that popped up or tweets popped up saying that the new Joker movie is just a complete waste of fucking space and it's so terrible. It's like, oh, it's just gonna make white men terrorists and whatnot. It's like these horrible takes, but they're attacking DC. I want you to look at the movies. I want you to look at the Dark Knight, and I want you to look at Captain Marvel, and I want you to go, which is a better movie? And the answer is simple. It's clearly a Dark Knight. It's clearly a Dark Knight. Now, Christopher Nolan's sophomore entry into this franchise is not only visually stunning, it's excellently acted, and it's infinitely rewatchable. If you get the opportunity to see it in IMAX, like true 70 millimeter, not faux IMAX, but real IMAX, your mind will be blown from how Nolan did what he did in that movie. You watch Captain Marvel in IMAX and you're like, oh wow, I'm paying extra for more sound, and a really boring plot, and a really boring lead actress, and there's nothing of value here. But you go back to a cultural significant event and genre entertainment like The Dark Knight, and you're like, no, that's a movie. That's a movie that everyone likes. That's a movie that 11 years almost later has still maintained itself as being probably the best superhero movie ever made. Truly, on a cinematic scale. That and like X-Men 2, but like on a cinematic scale, it like is like the best movie, best superhero film ever made. Because even though I love Endgame and I love Marvel movies, you go back to The Dark Knight because of how it was made. And that Nolan took it to a next level. And that level has not been eclipsed, not even by Nolan with The Dark Knight Rises a couple years later. It hasn't been eclipsed by anyone. But to sit there and run articles, run headlines like, oh, hey, you guys, did you know that Captain Marvel totally beat out The Dark Knight box office wise? You know, guys, a movie that came out 11 years ago. Congratulations. You can do math. And you can use a calendar. This not comparable. It came out 2 months after Iron Man. That's how long ago The Dark Knight came out. As much as I love Iron Man, The Dark Knight was The Dark Knight. The Dark Knight should have been Best Picture in 2009. It should have been. It got Best Actor, posthumously, if I'm saying that correctly, for Heath Ledger, which is still a shame. You know? But no, let's go back and attack it because that's all you've got. That's the thing. That's all you've got. None of these people ever address the true criticism of Captain Marvel. They don't. They never address the true criticism of Captain Marvel. What they do is they just apply it to something else. Like I said before, when Captain Marvel's ticket pre-sales came out, oh, it beat Wonder Woman and Aquaman, guys. Oh my God. Who cares? They're not even in the same league. They're not even the same company. The only thing you're using here is the superhero movies. Apply it competitively to its own brand. But when you start trying to take shots at the lesser company, so to speak, because that's how they're going to view it, all you're doing is looking like a fucking moron. And that's it. That's it. But no, be prepared because more articles are going to come out criticizing Captain Marvel, criticizing DC films and comparing them to Captain Marvel when the two aren't even remotely comparable at all. Anyway, I had to get this rant out there. This pissed me off. Well, your thoughts, your opinions, let me know down in the comments below. I'll talk to you guys later. Have yourself a great day and peace out.